Good morning from Yami BTV. Wishing you all well today. Sending loads of love to you all as usual now. Coming up tonight, the live session. That'll be about 7 o'clock, between 6 and 7, where I'll be answering questions on all the videos that go out during the week. Because I can't answer all the comments all the time. Sometimes I'm getting a lot of questions asking about certain things in them videos that I forget to answer because I've got a lot of people to answer I'm pretty close to, if you get what I mean. So ask me on a Sunday night, and if I can answer, I will, yeah, especially with the headspace I've got at the moment. And also it's family love night as well. Sunday always is. So I look forward to seeing most of you there as usual, right? So I'm going to talk about men that end up facing big sentences for crimes that are driven by drugs or drink, right? Now, the first case that I'll talk about is there was a guy called Dano, I think his name is Dan Sonics, right? I knew his brother Bernie. Bernie was all right, right? I think he was from South London, Peckham or somewhere like that. One morning, the day before, it was all over the news about these horrific murders, right? I think they were students or something, but Sonics and another geezer were on my landing the next day after coming out of the police station. Now, I'm getting remanded into custody for the case that was on the news, right? Now, I saw him, I knew him from another sentence, and I said to him, is that you, the case that's on the news, where horrific murders, right, all for the sake of being out their box and wanting to go in an aggravated burglary on two normal civilians who were meant to be brilliant A-list students as well. The violence inflicted was such to extreme level that it made my stomach turn, right? You know, that kind of stuff doesn't rankle with a lot of us, all for the sake of trying to get money out of them to go buy drugs. Now, murdered them. Horrific, right? Now, when I saw him, I said, what happened? Because I didn't think, you know what I mean, what I've seen before from him, you couldn't really see the unnecessary and very unnecessary to have gone so over the top for a couple of quid, right? He just said, when you're in addiction and all that. He goes, yeah, man, I was out of my box. I said, yeah, but when I'm out of my box, it's not going to be like that. That's a bit too much. What happened is with Sonics, it changed the whole prison system, probation, because he wasn't meant to be out at the time. He was meant to be on a recall on license, right? He'd already breached it, but they didn't put him in custody. So the murders could have been prevented if he would have been in custody. They had a whole shake-up of the whole probation service. They sacked the chief probation officer and they implemented new strategies and ways of dealing with recalls, which obviously we know through some of the things I've said, and many of you have experienced who watch Yami TV, that they got trigger happy, the probation, because they don't want their heads on the chopping block at all. If you get a warning or a suggestion, you've had a lapse, or someone said this about you or that, or you was in the wrong place, what was you doing down there? Recall for the smallest things because of the Sonics case. That's what Jack Straw did, right? Completely, what did it really do apart from make a lot of bitter men that when you ain't committed a crime, you're late for an appointment or you failed the drug test. But so the prevention, they're saying, well, your history relates to that. They set him in custody and you can go and lie down. You end up doing more the sentence than what the crime was valued at to, for God's sake, man. Do you remember the liberties they took with me on the recall with the Young Vic Theatre? I didn't want to apologise on the hearing, but it cost me a year. And then I got a straight 8 after that too, because I was feeling hard done by and, got back on the thing and that. But I met so many men along the years that wake up and they can't even remember what they're doing, what they did, right? But more alcohol related. Like Gary Delaney, like the one punch things outside of it, and a man died. This is how simple it is when you're at your box to do something where you think, because when it used to happen to me, I'll tell you the feelings behind this now. When it used to happen in the A's, when I used to go on my missions, and then the staff want to come and apprehend me, but that I'm not going to let no one stop me getting what I want. That was the be all and end all for me. And then, but my actions on swinging straight away ignites everybody joining in and swinging. And then I'm down the block and I'm thinking, yeah, for that moment of madness, you've cost 5-6 men their fucking sentences. You raving lunatic, because everyone's going to join in for you and do your action. Then you think, how did I start swinging from that bit to that bit? Another time in a bar years and years ago, right? I got this. It doesn't happen to me a lot, thankfully. Well, I was never out long enough, was I? But one thing happened in a bar about 23 years ago, and someone touched her. He said something to him. I went back there, and then everybody started swinging. Madness. And then I remember being wrapped up by the bouncers. Didn't like it, right? It was like being wrapped up by screws and the meat takers. So they brought me out the back, right? Threw me out that way, but I came steaming back in through the front, and they was all partying, and people going yummy, yummy, yummy. But I was completely out of my box. That could have gone badly wrong for me, and in many cases I've gone like that. And then we'll talk about another one. Way back in the day, Louis Shepherd, Dwayne Daniels, and I think a couple of others, a little argument took place with a doorman and someone else out of his box, throwing him out, batting him up, the bouncer, doing that to me, and then go and call, yeah, brother, yeah, they done that, and everybody's coming down, and you know what I mean, you touch it and do this, and the geezer dies, you know what I mean, even a dog died that day, but Dwayne got life for it, but they called him, another out your box. And you wake up in there, and this is what I say about drugs. I find it very difficult today as I'm talking to believe that I would have done all that, wasting my whole life, just for the sake of getting that thing. Because on the one hand, all right, drug-related addiction, I get it all. But for me to know now that nothing could have been worth more than my freedom, it's hurtful, like the drugs, for God's sake. That's not the be-all and end-all. To someone's life. It's not meant to be, is it? Realization, yeah, I mean, well, after so much years, you finally worked that bit out. Sad that you could put it all on the line for that bit to end up back on the landing to go, oh yeah, I'm back. I just see the same faces over and over again for years and years and years, right? And I just wake up. I go, oh God, I've got to go again. You know what I mean? Doing it my way, thinking, yeah, I don't care about the consequences and all that. And later life now, all the crying starts because you realise that I realise that I did it all for fucking nothing. But some of us, easier said than done. I know exactly what you mean. We're self-harmers. We didn't think much of ourselves, our outlooks and perspectives on life. We didn't have much experiences. We didn't have nobody, hopelessly lost in a big wide world, you know what I mean? And then you wake up one day out here and you go, it weren't even, it was so, I've just had a realisation of certain things the last few weeks, you lot well and know that. But how many men you end up in there and go, shit, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. So I'll see you on the live later on tonight, all right? Sending loads of love to you all.